Welcome back, guys. It's Formation, the podcast. It's Nat and Al, and we are here with episode 4. Can you believe it?
Can you believe it? Oh my God, Saudi Arabia, what a weekend.
Amazing. Street track Jeddah, under the lights.
So good. 27 corners, fast, and lots of potential for high risk incidences.
Yes, and a few high-risk incidents were had, shall we say?
Absolutely. But first off, our boy Oscar.
How nice is it to hear the Australian anthem on the podium? We have been deprived.
2 weeks in a row as well.
I know, 3 times this year, the most race wins. Oscar Piastri just smashed it out of the park. Good on him.
Oh, he absolutely did, and has also pushed him right to the top for the World Championship. But we will get into all that later.
But yeah, let's get into practice. When I think of practice, there's just one thing that springs to mind. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Yeah.
What happened to Yuki?
I know.
I know.
Poor Yuki. I mean, not ideal at all. God, the poor thing.
And he was building so nicely.
Yeah.
You know, just slowly learning the car and improving with each session every weekend. And I thought finally he's gonna just keep chipping away at it and show us what he can do.
Yeah.
And he finds the wall.
Oh, the poor thing. So that was in FP2,
Yeah.
final corner. So yeah, it was just, poor thing.
It just goes to show this track is so unforgiving. Just that little mistake and you find the wall.
And he did only just clip the inside of the wall.
I know, but that was his session done.
Yeah.
Session
and so
done.
it was the session done after that. Obviously, they brought out the red flag and then had to call it on FP2 after that.
Poor Yuki, he was saying that he is getting more familiar with the car, but every now and again it just does something really uncharacteristic and he doesn't know how or why it happens. And it's so unpredictable. It would be so hard driving, especially at Jeddah, where, you know, any little mistake does put you in the wall. Driving a car that you don't know what it's going to do.
Absolutely.
So nerve-wracking. So nerve-wracking.
Just watching them race on this track, you just want to watch through your hands, your fingers, because as you said, anything can go wrong at any time and it can be the tiniest thing that makes them slip. So yeah, a really unfortunate moment for Yuki in FP. It was nice to see Gasly up there. Yeah, he was actually quite good this weekend, really fast. So FP1, he did take out the fastest lap. And then obviously the McLarens were really strong, as always, super dominant, but it was good to see the Alpine up there getting a quick lap, and then the mix through with Mercedes and Red Bull as well. McLaren's super consistent at the moment, and they have been all year top finishers for all the practices. Do you feel the same?
I think they just know what the car potential is this time.
Yeah.
And they're just going for it. They know what it can do. It's the last year in this set of regulations, so they're the most familiar they've been with the car. As every year goes on, it's just more experience under their belt. It's not the same car, but it's designed under the same principles. So they're familiar with it. They know what they've got, are comfortable, and it shows. It definitely shows on track.
Yeah, absolutely. The drivers with this track as well, there were definitely struggle points. You've got like turn 13, which is a banked corner, and it's super tricky if the balance is off.
I think as well, so many of the drivers were saying that this track, because there are so many corners just one after another and they're so high speed, if you stuff up one corner, your whole lap is compromised because it throws you off for the next corner, which throws you off for the one after that, and in turn just keeps throwing you off for the subsequent corners that are just flying at you, left, front and centre. So you literally have to get the entire lap right to come out on top.
There's just no room for error at all.
Exactly, when there are only a few tenths in it.
Yeah.
That one corner at the beginning or at the end or wherever it is, that's it. You could be P1 to P12. You just don't know. It's hard, which we did see with a lot of the drivers. Lap times, such a vast space between, you know, teammates who are, you know, in the same car, but are just producing such different lap times.
Yeah.
It's a driver's track and the driver can make a difference. as we saw again with Max Verstappen, who can never be discounted, ever. Anyone that discounts him is, I don't know, living on a different planet.
I know. I try to, but I can't close my eyes to it anymore.
We will get to your prediction. I think you cursed someone, but we will get to your predictions. Let's get into qualifying.
I know.
Let's
get into qualifying for sure. Yeah.
Let's do it. So, who went out in Q1? Who did
Do you have the stats?
I do have the Q1 stats.
Yeah.
So we had Gabriel Bortoletto in 20th. He's just not really doing much, is he?
It's such a shame.
We said it last week.
Yeah.
Sauber is just buying its time till 2026. So I don't know. We didn't really have any expectations, so we can't really be disappointed. Gabriel Bortoletto in 20th, Ocon in 19th, Hulkenberg in 18th, Doohan in 17th, and Lance Stroll in 16th.
So Lance getting up there, thank God.
Did you see his new accolade he can add to his resume? Did you see what he?
Yes, that is the driver. What is it?
The driver with the most
Q1 out in Q3 the most. Q1 the most.
Yes, the driver with the most Q1 exits in F1 history.
Bloody hell.
I don't know if it's something to be proud of, but it's definitely something he can add to his
We'll
career.
let him take it though. We'll let him take it. Yeah.
Very deserving. And he did make a little remark in his press conference. If the McLaren drivers were in a market team, they'd have the same stat. Like, would they, Lance?
Would they? Do we want to put you in a McLaren and see if we can?
Yeah. Don't think so.
No.
It would be like, especially when you're in a press conference and they throw that at you, it wouldn't feel nice.
No, not at all.
It isn't nice at all. And he must just feel really horrible about that. But
yeah, poor Nancy.
I do feel for him sometimes. He does cop a lot of stick.
Oh, he does. He's very good though at keeping out of the media for someone that is underperforming quite a bit.
I think he can also gives shortest answer in a press conference to his resume as well, because he's very just like, yeah, okay, no, yeah, like
one word wonder, that guy.
Gives them nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
I mean, other than our lineup, nothing really happened in that qualifying that was outstanding. So we'll move on to Q2. Q2. So we had my poor heart, Oliver Bearman coming in at 15. Isaac Hadjar, 14. Alonso in 13. Liam Lawson in 12. Go Liam. And then Albon in 11th.
Yes. So there was a few little surprises there. Hadjar not in the top 10.
Yeah.
Firstly.
Yeah.
Because he has been doing so well.
Yeah, he has been. And also Liam out qualifying Isaac.
Yes. They were so close. Maybe Liam's finally comfortable with the car. And we're going to see more of a teammate back and forth with them too, which will be nice.
Yeah.
The more battles we get on track, the more entertaining for us, really. So,
yeah.
That's good. What else? Sainz qualifying Albon again.
Yeah. Great. I think he's really finding his footing. It's disappointing though, because I did really want Albon to start gaining more traction. But again, we've just had some outliers that is starting to slip up, like Pierre, and Yuki's now feeling comfortable in his car as well. So he's making that top 10 more regularly. So yeah, Alex Albon, not, we'll see next week. They might be level-footed with qualifying. Yeah, we shall see how they go over the one lap. Also, can we just have a mention, you did predict last week that we were going to have a Haas on the podium. So yes, we did have Oliver Bearman out in Q2. You did predict him to be on the podium this week. And I think you may have placed a curse on the poor boy. There is a possibility. I mean, I obviously didn't have a voodoo doll and putting pins in him, but yeah, I may have woo girl too hard for that one. Let's just baby steps, baby woo girl. Baby steps. I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to go wild with this one. Let's spice her up and boom, poor thing. But, No, it was spicy. I love just spice. Yeah, but although he placed, 15 in qualifying, he's really good at making up spots on the track. So even though he placed 15th, I was like, yeah,
Not worried.
Obviously wasn't going to make podium, but I was
Yeah.
like, he could hold this back a little bit,
Yeah.
but we'll see. Maybe next time he'll make podium. Who knows?
We'll see what your predictions are later on.
All
Okay.
right. Well, that takes us into Q3.
Lando Norris. What happened? What happened, Lando? I tipped you for pole and you were on track.
He was really on track until he was not on track and went off track and into the wall. Oh, the poor thing.
Can I
When
just
that
say,
happened, yeah, go,
I
you
think
tell
he
me.
was going to get pole. He was going to get it.
Yeah, I think he absolutely would have gotten it. But it happened. We need to accept it
We move
and
on.
move on. The one thing that I was worried about when he hit that wall was that it's just going to catapult his weekend.
Yeah.
His emotions would have been all over the place. His confidence would have just been like, in the bin. So I'm really glad that he held his shit together.
And also that he wasn't injured. As soon as they sent the medical car, I was stressed. I'm thinking, is he going to be able to race next week? Has he had an injury that we're not aware of just yet?
I don't know if you saw this, but when Will was like, Lando, are you okay? Are you okay? It took him quite a while to actually respond. Obviously, he was in shock, but two, he's just blown it, Safety first, but
there are lights that go off in the car. Once you hit a certain G-force, once the crash is, at a certain level, a light goes on which automatically deploys that medical car. So
yeah.
I was thinking it's a big crash. Because I always think back to Daniel Ricciardo when he crashed and
when he
broke his hand or his wrist, whatever that was. That could be his, championship fight over if he misses X amount of races, or even just the race today if he wasn't able to race and score points. It's not just missing out on a session. It's a lot more. It's a lot more than that when you are fighting right at the top for the.
When you've got your teammate 3 points behind you, who's also right up there.
And very fast. Oscar, he's quick. He is quick. He is.
Okay, so obviously with the crash that Lando had, we went into a red flag, resulting in Lando then placing 10th. Then we had Pierre Gasly in 9, Yuki Tsunoda in 8, Lewis Hamilton in 7th, Carlos Sainz finally up in the top 6, Kimi Antonelli in 5th, Charles in 4th, George Russell in 3rd, Oscar Piastri in 2nd, and Max on pole.
Max on pole again. Again, second pole of the year. Well deserved. Just on it all weekend, gradually building with each lap and just,
Yeah. So second pole for the season.
Yeah.
I don't edged Oscar out. Just.
I don't even think the team should be called Red Bull anymore. It should just be called Max Verstappen. Because he makes the difference. He is the team.
Yeah.
Oh, the
MV racing.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also just shout out to Max's engineer GP. That strategy for qualifying, the only team to think about it, to load the car with a bit more fuel, send him on 2 laps. All the other drivers, all they had was 1 lap to get a time on the board, because they just did the standard go back to the garage, sit in there until, there's 3 to 4 minutes left, warm the tyres, go out and do 1 lap. Yeah. Max's engineer. Oh, you know what, Max? We've got time for 2 laps. So smart. So smart.
So good. So good. And when you see stuff like that happen, that makes you feel good, right? This sport is juicy.
Yeah, because things like that can make a difference.
And it did.
Yeah, and that's again where Red Bull isn't just sitting back doing what they always do. They're looking at different scenarios. If we do this, this might happen. If we do that, that might happen. And as Max said, he was able to push on that first lap. But because the track is so unforgiving, he was able to find a rhythm. He did the first lap, came in, pitted, and went for it on that second lap. And that's what gave him a 10th here, a 10th at this corner. He pushed that a little bit more. He knew where the good was.
Overall on Oscar. So good. Really outstanding. And when he crossed the line and I saw the time, and I was just like, yeah, bravo.
And that's exactly what George said, why he was disappointed with his result. Obviously, he was pleased where he played, but he said if he had 2 laps, he would have just had that little bit more confidence to skim the wall a bit there and touch the wall a little bit there. And who knows, we could have had George Russell on pole. We will never know. But I think all the teams should take a learning from this, that don't always follow the status quo. Change it up with your strategy. It might not work, like it looked like a masterclass because it paid off here, but just try something a bit different. What have you got to lose?
That's right.
Okay, so that was qualifying. So I don't know, after qualifying, I had high hopes for Oscar because he was starting on the front row and he's been so good with his starts. But Max is there and I don't know. As soon as Max got pole, I just thought, oh, he's going to win it.
Yeah, I honestly, I was the same. I was concerned because that corner is so tight and I was just thinking the worst. Something's going to happen. Oscar's going to come off. Max is going to be super aggressive. He's not going to want to let up. And it kind of happened. That kind of was how it went down, but no one got into a wall. No one ran off. Well, he did run off, but no one was injured. No cars were damaged. Oscar absolutely nailed that takeoff. That's my opinion. What do you think, Nat?
I completely agree. If Max had made that corner, the race was done.
Yeah.
With clean air, no one in front of him, he would have just run away with it like we've seen in the past, time and time again. But Oscar, he is just a true racer in there.
And just so collected and even afterwards on the first corner, Oscar did catch Max and he got the line. Max then slipped off the track. They had a little bit of back and forth with Max saying that Oscar pushed him off. Oscar saying he wasn't even going to make that corner even if I was there or wasn't there, and it resulted in Max getting a 5-second penalty, which to me, I don't think that was fair.
Not at all.
I think he should have got a worse penalty.
Should have been at least a 10-second penalty.
Or given the spot back.
Well, yeah, he should have given the spot back and then there would have been no penalty at all. But I think that was Red Bull trying to say we're adamant that he did nothing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think if they had given the spot back, it looks like they know they're in the wrong. Whereas by them sticking to their guns, which they've done in the past, they stick to their guns and they've come out on top. I think last year a few times him and Lando got into it and Max stuck to his guns and they were just deemed as racing incidents, turn one incidents, first lap incidents. I think that's what they were going for.
Do you feel that, though, as a driver in the car, obviously we're seeing it differently, the engineers are seeing it differently. Do you think Max actually realised that Oscar got him when he's saying he felt like he was pushed off the track?
I think it's just milliseconds that are in it. So if Max is looking to the right and Oscar gets the corner and brakes later, he's not going to see him. So he probably did think he was pushed off the track. But that's where his engineer, the team, they have to do their job and, you know, just be a little bit smarter, I guess, and think, what is the decision going to be? If we are going to get a penalty, let's just give back that position. But I think there was more risk in giving it back and then letting Oscar go from lap one and just, we know the pace of McLaren.
Absolutely. At least he was able to build a bit of a distance, let Oscar pit, get more of a distance ahead to then possibly still come out on top. But yeah, poor Oscar was just sitting in that dirty air the whole time and you'd be furious, absolutely furious. And he was vocal about it, calmly vocal about it.
He was Oscar furious.
Yeah.
Very calm and collected.
Yes. So that was a very interesting first turn.
It was.
And then we ended up getting a yellow flag within the first 5 corners because
Gasly and Tsunoda. Besties. They're besties. They are besties. As soon as it was them two, I just thought, Gasly, top 10 qualifier. Tsunoda finally puts the Red Bull where it belongs, in the top 10. Needed a redemption weekend. And then they crash into each other. You couldn't have written it any better.
So I think it was it Tsunoda's wheel that nudged the Alpine?
It was, but I think they were very much racing incident. I don't think any penalties will be given served anywhere else, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it's not what you want. You know, you finish Saturday on such a high and then Sunday comes, you're in the car for what? 2 minutes and then it's over. All that good work you've done, the mechanics did
and the poor mechanics that had to put the car back together for it to just Humpty Dumpty all over again.
I know, poor things. Well, Yuki is quite vocal on the radio and we didn't get many messages pop up on our screen because it was Pierre.
It was
And he loves Pierre. They're just like, they have a little bromance, them two. It's quite cute.
Oh, such a disappointing end for the two of them.
For sure.
So then we had the yellow flag safety car out for a bit, and then Max had them all lining up, ready to go, and I think he caught a few of them.
He did. But I think he'd redeemed his race start.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
his
definitely.
safety car start.
Yeah.
Sure. Right. So what else happened in the race that needs a mention?
How were the Ferraris, Nat?
Look, I did have a little moment when Lando tried to get Lewis. I think it was like 15 or something. Obviously, Lando had a lot of spots to make up, and Lando overtook Lewis, but then Lewis still had the DRS because he was behind Lando, and he got him right back. And you just saw all these Ferrari fans in the stands, like, get up, shout it, like, go, Lewis.
Was that you?
Yeah, me too, on the couch. And it gave me like a little bit of hope. I was like, the Ferrari's got pace. What's going on here? And then I think it was like 2 corners later, Lando just straight past Lewis.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be. But I did get that like 2 seconds of Lewis fangirling.
Yeah.
Which was good. But
it was actually quite interesting though, because throughout the race, Lewis held quite a few drivers behind him. He held Lando, and even further up in the race, it took Max 3 or 4 laps to get Lewis.
And that's why I love Lewis, because we saw this a lot last year. You would get a car out of sync, but when they would go to overtake, his race isn't with this car, and they just let them pass because they know they're going to pass eventually. And I just think that's not the mentality to have. Your race is with every car, regardless of if you've pitted, if they've pitted. Keep them behind. You don't know what safety car is going to come. You don't know if there's a red flag, if your track position is going to make a difference. Keep them behind for as long as you can. I love that about Lewis. It doesn't matter that he knew Max was going to overtake him eventually, because Lewis was coming into the pits. So it didn't really matter if Max was behind or in front. We knew he was going to get overtaken. But no, I'm going to hold him up for a second here and a second there. So good on Lewis. I think it just goes to show that doesn't matter what car you're in, who's behind, that car is staying behind. So well done, Lewis. Well done.
Well done, Lewis. Although he finished where he did make some really good moves in, as you said, keeping people behind him.
And we know Lewis is great on a Sunday. And then we had Charles. Thought maybe
first podium for Ferrari.
First podium for Ferrari.
Well done.
It is only a P3, but I'll take it.
Oh, we take it. Yeah.
We love seeing the Ferrari on the podium.
Yeah. I was really surprised, even with Charles, George has obviously performed really well all races until today. But when Charles got around George, I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
This is happening.
Yeah, I know.
George was struggling. And he did say that he did struggle. But yeah, he secured that 3rd spot and a well-deserved morale boost for the team, for sure.
I know, he booted your boy off the podium. Mr. Consistent.
Yeah.
No, but he still is consistent. Like, he's top 5 finisher again.
Yeah. We like to share.
Yeah, he's not greedy. He's sharing the love of the podium. And Kimmy as well, his teammate, I think.
Yeah.
I think he finished like 13 or 14 seconds off of George in the end. Yeah. But it's his first year in Formula One, and he's still there doing his job of the number 2 driver.
Yeah.
I think,
but also it's really impressive. I know George obviously didn't necessarily have a strong race today compared to his previous races, but as a team, with George and Kimmy, they're performing so well, and is really helping them for the constructors, because outside of McLaren, they're the strongest.
Yeah, they've got 2 consistent drivers delivering every week.
That is so important. So they did score some valuable points for Mercedes this weekend.
They did. All right, now let's get to McLaren. So it wasn't a double podium like we both had predicted.
We did both predict that, yeah.
But we did have Oscar Piastri finish the race first, as he deserved. I think there'll be a lot of controversy around Max's penalty. Was it deserved? Was it not? 100%, I think it was deserved. And
he absolutely deserved that. I was gobsmacked when they gave Liam Lawson a 10-second penalty
Oh, yeah.
for the exact same thing.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry? What's happening?
Max is like the spoilt child sometimes, and they're like,
He's acting like a spoiled
you
child
can't
afterwards
upset
as
him. He
well.
won't answer our questions in the press conference.
Well, he did it.
I know. I'm keeping it short. Thanks to the fans. See you later. Off you went.
Oh, you want to spray champagne? No, I won't be partaking in that today. I'll just have a little sip.
I know. And even in the cool down room, it was ice cold. Charles and Oscar going back and forth, Max just sitting there like, I'm not talking to you. Really funny.
Yes. Oh dear, Max. But he did. He did race a really good race.
We need to give the drivers, they've had 3 back-to-back races.
And finishing on this one, bloody tough.
Through in the Middle East with hot temps, they must be exhausted, tired.
Yeah, as Oscar said, he needs a couch.
It's a couch.
The first thing he needed was a couch as soon as he got out of that car.
I also think we've had a breakthrough. Sorry, slams the table. We've had a breakthrough with Oscar. Like, he is chill, but I think he's just been a bit reserved and not himself. I felt like we got a more authentic version of himself today with his reactions. His smile was different.
No, bless him, because he really like woohooed in the car.
He did. He let
like,
go.
Oh my god, play that again. Play that again.
It was different. And even in his interview, he's a bit rehearsed sometimes. I feel not rehearsed. He's scared of what to say, or he was more natural. He was confident. And I thought, okay, he's got a bit of swagger.
Like that thing where like you get your first win, you get your first couple of wins, you finally competing with your teammate.
Yeah.
It's like, is this real? Is this not real? Maybe let me play it cool for a little bit because this could really backpedal. And now he's just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Go me, number one.
Yeah. No, really nice to see. I think we're going to get a bit more of the real Oscar Piastri going forward.
When he woohooed, I was like, proud mum.
Yeah. And he said he's going to celebrate tonight. And I would love to see how Oscar celebrates. Is it just a cheeky bev on the couch? Is he going to the club? Is he having a dinner? What's his
celebration?
Yeah, what's he doing to celebrate? We need to find out.
Maybe we can find out.
Yeah, and we need to get some insight.
Oscar, tell us, how do you celebrate?
Yeah, please, Oscar, if you're listening, what did you do to celebrate? Let us know.
You can just whisper it to us. We won't tell anyone.
Then we've got Lando not leading the drivers anymore.
No, I know, but you know what? It's really well deserved for Oscar. And Lando still had a ripper race.
There's a long season ahead of us.
Could have got that podium. He absolutely could have.
1 or 2 more laps.
Yeah.
And it was on.
Yeah, he raced his heart out, and that was just, once again, just proving that, yes, things didn't go to plan, but I'm going to get it done.
I think mentally as well, I always try and think, what is harder, what is easier, chasing or leading? And I think when you chase, you have nothing to lose. So he qualified P10, he had nothing to lose. He was just picking these drivers off one by one.
Yeah.
Whatever he finished ahead of P10 was an improvement from where he began. When you start at the front, you've got everything to lose.
Yeah.
You have to just run a perfect race because everyone behind you, they're like a dog with a bone. Just going for it, getting every little piece of crumb they can. When you qualify out of position, which is what he did, he just had everything to play for. I think he did. And that's going to come into the Drivers' Championship as well. Now he's not leading. He might drive a bit more relaxed. I don't know. What do you think?
I think so. I agree. Definitely agree. You're less reserved. Having to defend is just exhausting. Whereas like when you're having to chase people down,
it's fun.
It's like exhilarating. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
We will. I think, it's going to be a great season. And this is where with Red Bull, they had a dominant car and you knew it was going to be Max because the number 2 driver just wasn't bringing it to him on the track. Whereas Oscar and Lando, they are back and forth every week, and it's so exciting.
So exciting. And do you know what? Coming into this year, even though being a McLaren stan, I wouldn't have put Oscar to be in the position that he is right now. I just didn't think he would be in that position.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it would be Lando.
Yeah, just running away with it.
Yeah, and so good.
It's good. It's great. It's great for the sport. It's great for the fans. And it's also great for the drivers because they're battling between themselves. You just get these little outliers popping up here and there and, taking what they can get as well. So, every week it's exciting. It's, who's going to be on pole, who's come out on top in the race. It's been really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Any other standouts?
No standouts, just little funny tidbits, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see towards the end of the race when Gabrielle nicked Alonso?
I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh my goodness. Out of any of the two drivers that, could possibly have a little scuffle, because Fernando Alonso is Gabrielle's manager.
I know, it's hilarious. I was just like, whoa, boy.
I know. And then
That's your father.
you could see Alonso get angry, and then he pulled right back on the radio.
It was like the whole Sonoda Gasly thing. It's like, oh, that's my best friend. Oh, that's my boy.
If it was any other driver on the radio, Fernando is going hard with the insults. He was so conservative. And then even in the cool down room after, Oscar was like, don't think Gabby has a flight home anymore.
Talking about flights home, did you see Alex's post-race conference? He's like, oh, I'm flight back with Max, and they were like, did you see what happened with Max? And he was like, what did he place? Second. He's like, how did he lose the first? And they were like, he, got a 5-second penalty. And he was like, right, I'll be sleeping on that flight.
There will be no chats had on the
flight. No chats, none whatsoever. Oh, hilarious.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall on the flights home with the drivers.
Yeah.
Even so funny.
Yeah. Lando and Oscar's flight home.
Well, who's Oscar flying with? We don't know. Lando's probably with Max.
No, Oscar and Lando on the same flight
home. Oh, they were.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Trouble in paradise.
Again, it was really good to see Lando be so supportive of Oscar.
For sure.
They had a real good little interview afterwards, and it was so nice for him to be in that mood.
Yeah. And I think because he did the best he could, he got the most out of where he qualified. So I think he's going to be happy with that. And they're going to have races where they crash out, where they don't qualify first. It's going to happen. Well, unless you're Max Verstappen 2023, it's going to happen. So, yeah. Also,
can I say something?
You can.
Thank you. How was Oscar's overtake on Hamilton?
Just masterclass. Just like an expert.
Tom's just take him somewhere he won't expect it. Okay.
Yeah. Say no more.
No worries. He just did it straight away. As we were saying earlier, it took everyone about 3 or 4 laps to even get around Lewis, and Oscar was just ciao.
Boom, boom, boom.
So good.
I know. And then I'm digressing. When Max was trying to overtake Lewis, did you hear all of GP's hype messages on the radio? Push, Max, maximum push. It was he was hyping that boy up, drive like you've never driven before. It was so good. I love seeing those driver engineer relationships, how they play out. And Charles at the end of the race was commenting on his relationship with his engineer. I think because we've seen a lot of their beef. They've only been together for half a year now. And he's like, we've got a great relationship now. We understand each other. I was like, yeah. The media person has told Charles to praise your engineer a little bit because, he's feeling a bit sad or something. Yeah,
because, all we see is just hammering him on the radio. So, yeah, they do need to throw in a little bit of a positive sprinkle.
Give him a comment. Give him something. I was kind of waiting for a red flag. Leclerc led a few laps. I was like, oh, red flag.
Yeah.
Or different drivers were out in front at different points. I think Lando was out in front at one point. I was like, come on, red flag.
Yeah.
But it wasn't to be.
Yeah, and I think there was a point where Lando was still confident to stay out on his tyres, but then Oscar was dirty
to
beat him off. Yeah.
Don't dog me with the strategy. Come on, I'm in front. Yeah, but they didn't. And I think Zach said in an interview after the race that he was a bit nervous. He got a bit sweaty at that point, but they quickly pitted and all was well. Because there's going to be times where they're qualifying next to each other on the grid, and we're going to have issues like we had last year. It's going to happen. And because they are now both in the fight, it'll be interesting to see who they prioritise. Yeah, it's going to be...
We talk about it every week.
We do.
And every week it makes me nervous.
I know. I can imagine. Another honourable mention to Williams, double points.
Double points? I know. How
good. Really good for Williams. Who would have thought their car would have been where it is this year? I guess Carlos would have thought when he signed. He would have hoped and thought. and it's finally clicked. And that is a strong driver pairing, Carlos and Alex. That's
so amazing. I feel like, did we say what the final standings were earlier?
I'm not sure. Do you want to shed some light, Alex?
How did we finish? I guess our predictions, Natty.
How did we go?
We had a bit of a half-half situation.
We did. I predicted Lando P1. We know how that ended up, but I did predict Max P2, and we had Max P2. And then P3, I think I predicted Charles. Did I not?
I think you had a reverse. Yeah, but I mean, you still have had them both in there. So I think you definitely won this round because I had Oscar, Lando, and Dear Ollie.
Yeah, so I definitely won this round. But if we just pretend Oscar was Lando and swap Charles and me, I predicted the podium.
Let me just go get an Oscar mask to go put on Lando's face.
Yes, that works. No, but yeah.
Orange, same.
Yeah, no, I think, it was a good weekend, great race, good way to finish the triple header. And it just makes me excited for the rest of the season, if I'm honest. Just every week I just become more and more excited because there's another driver up there.
Yeah.
The Drivers' Championships swapped around again, and it's just keeping it so interesting.
So interesting. I would love to see a little bit more competition with the constructors. I think it'll come later on, but I'm super excited for this week of rest.
And then we bring it back to Miami. It's funny because Miami is usually a pretty boring track. But the hype around it, the fans, the
I love the hype around Miami.
The build up, it just compensates for the race. That's sometimes a bit of a snooze fest, I think.
Yeah. So bring on Miami.
Lando won his first race last year in Miami. So he might bring some of that vibe and he's going to win this one again. But we'll get into our predictions later. But just foreshadowing, foreseeing, putting it out there in the universe, I think he's going to do a really good job.
Yeah, same.
Okay, great. All right, predictions. Where are we going?
Where are we going? Going to Miami. We're going to go pole? Pole. And how I feel about this, I don't know. I'm just going to go with Lando. Obviously won last year. I think he's going to have something to prove this week.
100%.
So here's where I'm going.
All right, pole. I was going to go Lando, but I just don't want to be boring and I don't want to be the same.
No, Lando's your pick.
No,
is your pick.
I'm going to go with Max. I just
Red Bull's strong around that track.
Red Bull is strong, and he's just going to be really angry because of his penalty this week. And you just need to know he's going to get another pole. I think he's going to do a Charles Leclerc this season, get a lot of poles, and not convert them into wins. Sorry, Max. Yeah, no, good pick. Good pick. And then who are you putting on the podium? Any Hasses?
Podium. Might stick away from the Hasses this week.
Okay.
But I'm going to go P1, P2, P3. And my P1 is going to be, can he do it? Can he do it 3 weeks in a row?
Okay.
Yeah, Oscar.
Oscar on the top step. Who's on the second step?
I'm going to go Max on the second step.
And on the third step?
Lando.
So what happens to Lando? Because you put him at the front and
I just feel something's going to go bad with strategy.
Okay, all right.
That's what my deal is. It's going to be Oscar's first race as champion leader. There's going to be some back and forth, and McLaren will do what McLaren does and stuff the strategy up, and that's what's going to happen.
I'm going to go top step Lando. He's going to qualify P2 and then get a really good start and overtake Max. So I'm going to go Lando, then Max, then Oscar.
Look at us go!
So we shall see what happens.
I think this is the first time we've had the same three just mixed and mumble-jumbled.
I think we have, but I'm also going to add another prediction.
Oh, please.
Yuki, P5.
Yuki's okay, I'll note it for you.
Note it for me there. Yuki
P5. Are we just going to do the whole group?
Yeah, we'll just go first to last.
Yeah.
But yeah,
okay. What, are you feeling strongly about that?
Yeah, I think he's getting better every week, and he is going to Silverstone to test the old Red Bull. So he's doing some extra homework. Yeah. So I think it's going to pay off. But what should I see?
So he might come out really confident then, and hopefully finish the race.
Yes, we just want to see him finish in the points.
We just want some points, Yuki.
And no crashes this weekend, please.
Alrighty, and that's us for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us once again this week. It's been an awesome 3 weeks. We've got a break coming up, and we will see you all in Miami.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
See you later.